This Sunday, Brazil surpassed the 172,000 fatalities since the beginning of the pandemic in the South American nation. Russian peacekeeping forces in Nagorno-Karabakh on Monday opened a field hospital near Stepakanaret that can treat up to 40 patients. Social, political and union organizations in Europe launched a campaign to promote free and inclusive access to coronavirus vaccines. Hello, welcome to teleSUR English. I'm Gladys Quesada from the teleSUR's headquarters in La Habana, Cuba. This is from the south. This Sunday, Brazil surpassed the 172,000 deaths since the beginning of the pandemic in the South American nation. Brazil is the most affected country by COVID-19 in Latin America, accounting for more than 45% of the registered infections in the region. According to data from the Health Ministry, 272 deaths and over 24,400 new cases were recorded in the last 24 hours. To this date, Brazil registered more than 6.3 million COVID-19 cases. Brazil is the second country in the world with the highest number of deaths from the disease, only behind the United States, and the third with more infections after the US and India. In Brazil, the first results of the second round of the municipal elections show a setback of the extreme right of Jair Bolsonaro, despite the consolidation of the center-right forces, while progressive forces prevail in the capitals like Belém and Recife. In the capitals of the country, the first confirmed victory was for Edmilson Rodrigues, the candidate for the Socialist and Freedom Party, who will govern in Belém. While in Sao Paulo, Bruno Covas for the Party for the Brazilian Social Democracy overtook Guilherme Boulos of the Party Socialism and Freedom. In Rio de Janeiro, former Mayor Eduardo Paes defeated Marcelo Crivella, the current mayor and candidate of Jair Bolsonaro. In Recife, João Campos of the Popular Front, in which the Communist Party of Brazil participates. In Fortaleza, the victory was for the Democratic Labour Party, and in Porto Alegre, the Brazilian Democratic Movement defeated the Communist Party of Brazil. Abstention and irregularities at the voting tables marked the primary elections in Chile on Sunday. According to the electoral authorities, the vote in which the Chilean people will designate the candidates for governors registered an abstention of at least 95%. Political parties considered that the low affluence of the electorate was due to the lack of information broadcast about the process. During the day, voters denounced irregularities in the voting tables. After several days of debate, this Sunday, Peruvian Congress green-lighted to the public sector budget law for 2021. The legislators approved the bill with 104 votes in favor, 13 against and 8 abstentions. Previously, the bills of public debt and financial balance 2021 were approved. The proposal of the executive asked for a budget of $51 million for the next year. On the other hand, Congress approved the inclusion of 142 investment projects in one of the annexes to the law. This Sunday night, a journalistic investigation was diffused, according to which the Public Prosecutor's Office, by then directed by Néstor Humberto Martínez, will have spied on at least one of the telephones of Juan Manuel Santos when he was still president of Colombia. According to the investigation made by journalists Gonzalo Guillén and Julián Martínez, whose publication shows the records of registers of the spied numbers, the public prosecutor in charge of Néstor Humberto Martínez intercepted one of the telephones of the president Juan Manuel Santos, who was registered as alias Santo. The wiretapping was done with the authorization of Prosecutor 3, Luz Marina Tapia, of the Directorate of Anti-Narcotics and Money Laundering Prosecutors, with the supposed authorization of the 10th Municipal Criminal Judge with the function of control of warranties and the instigation of an alleged agent of the DEA, the Anti-Narcotics Agency of the United States. According to the investigation, the purpose of these assemblies was to try to mix, in an ill-intentioned manner, the peace process with drug trafficking. In Colombia, the systematic violence against activists and former guerrilla fighters does not stop. The assassination of peace signatory Anwar Vargas was confirmed this Monday in the department of La Guajira. The FARC party confirmed on Twitter that another one of his comrades was killed in the municipality of Maicao. The organization informed that Vargas was complying with the housing project of territorial program of training and reincorporation in the town of Pendones in La Guajira. According to the FARC party, this killing brings to 244 the number of murdered peace signatories so far in 2020. They stress again the need to guarantee security policies within the framework of the peace accords. The Ministry of Security of Honduras announced this Sunday that the red alert declared by the passage of 2 hurricanes through the national territory will be maintained until further notice. The humanitarian assistance and reconstruction activities will continue throughout the country. The population will be able to access supermarkets, banks, and other business without restrictions in order to guarantee the supply to the population. Government Sources also announced that the cold front that is approaching the territory will generate rain and is expected to cause more landslides and flooding in a country that literally continues underwater as a result of Tropical Storm Ida and Hurricane Iota. They asked the population to take the necessary precautions. In response to the wave of violence in Haiti, the country's hospital declared themselves out of work on Monday after the kidnapping of the doctor Hans Telemaque. Numerous protests preceded this new demonstration that generates concern because it limits health care in the midst of the pandemic. The National Committee of Doctors in Residence condemned the police violence and threatened to stop all services in public hospitals by means of a communiqué. The hospital of Canapé Verde qualified as unacceptable the levels of insecurity, as well as other hospitals that repudiated the kidnapping of the Dr. Telemaque, who hours later was released after negotiations with his relatives. Today, in most hospitals, only the emergency services will continue their activities. The St. Lucia government extended the protocols aimed at curbing the spread of the coronavirus that has killed 2 people and infected nearly 250 there until December 14. Following a meeting of the National Emergency Management Advisory Committee, the government announced the extension of measures to limit movement and curtail social gatherings in order to reduce the number of active COVID-19 cases on the island. A modification was made to allow very limited opening of the education sector to support students preparing for the Caribbean Examination Council, the common entrance exams, and students enrolled at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College in subjects which require the use of laboratory. And we'll be right back after this very short break, so don't go away.
A review of the world news that investigates, incites analysis and induces criticism, because every event has a context.
Pusimos el punto en el.
Dot in the I. Saturday, only on teleSUR.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Sean todos muy bienvenidos a Vidas. Hay lugares donde el arte se unifica con el orgullo de los pueblos. Y esos lugares están llenos de colores, alegría, pasión, tradiciones, arraigo, valor y entrega.
Real Life. Fridays. Only on teleSUR.
Welcome back to From the South. Russian peacekeeping forces in Nagorno-Karabakh on Monday opened a field hospital near Stepakanaret that can treat up to 40 patients. The field hospital includes an intensive care unit and various other units to assist a wide variety of patients. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, the hospital is designed for the peacekeeping contingent in Nagorno-Karabakh, but it can also serve the civilian population if needed. The peacekeeping forces also continued their work of removing mines along the perimeter under their control in Nagorno-Karabakh. Operations to find and remove mines are being conducted every day in and around territory where Russian checkpoints are located. Russian peacekeepers find thousands of unexploded ammunition daily along the roads or inside the residential areas in the region.
The care unit is designed to help a wide variety of patients, such as patients with infectious toxic shock or traumatic shock. This is why it is universal.
And this Monday, nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhrizad, who was the head of the research organization and defensive innovation of the Ministry of Defense and was killed this Friday in the city of Absard, was laid to rest while a crowd paid its tribute. Iran's top authorities, together with the Iranian people, bid farewell to the prestigious 59-year-old scientist, whose murder has been condemned worldwide. Defense Minister Amir Hatami could not hold back his tears when he saw Fakhrizad coughing pass by. General Esmail Qaani, the head of the Quds forces, and Vice President Ali Akbar Salehni, head of the Iranian Atomic Energy Organization, were also visibly affected during the ceremony. The coffin where the scientist's body rests was covered by the Iranian flag and bears the names of the main holy figures of Shiism. Iran official news agency revealed on Monday that the remains of the weapon found at the site of Fakhrizad's murder has the logo and specifications of the Israeli military industry. We stay on topic because Ali Samkhani, the secretary of the country's Supreme National Security Council, accused Israel of using electronic devices to remotely kill Mohsen Fakhrizad.
Unfortunately, the operation was a very complicated operation and was carried out by using electronic devices. No individual was present at the site. We have found clues, and the person who designed the operation is known to us. We know who they are and what their background is. Definitely, the hypocrites had a role in it. Definitely, the criminal element of this action is the Zionist regime and Mossad.
And the World Health Organization warned that deaths from malaria due to disruptions during the coronavirus pandemic to services designed to tackle the disease will far exceed those killed by COVID-19 in sub-Saharan Africa. More than 409,000 people globally were killed by malaria last year, the WHO said in its latest global malaria report, and COVID-19 will almost certainly make that toll higher in 2020. The WHO report found there were 229 million malaria cases globally in 2019 and said that despite the unprecedented challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, many countries around the world had fought hard and held the line against the disease. And we are going to a short break now. Stay with us.
Who's moving the chess man? What interests and motivate the actors behind each event? What's at stake? Critical Move investigates every event from Monday to Friday. Only on teleSUR.
为了保持身体健康， 我冥想.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo corro.
To keep myself healthy, I study.
Για να διατηρηθώ υγιής, τρέφομαι σωστά.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo bailo.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo purifico mi espíritu a través del cuerpo. ¿Y tú?
Guide your body. Tuesdays, only on teleSUR.
Acompañamos a los pueblos que resisten en cada una de sus luchas.
Somos esa ventana que se abre para visibilizarlos entre fronteras.
Thursdays, only on teleSUR.
teleSUR English presents a weekly program to discuss the political, economic and social issues affecting the Caribbean community. We'll challenge stereotypes and impact the diversity of the region through the analysis of unique cultures, religions and art. We Caribbean. Wednesdays, only on teleSUR.
Welcome back to From the South. Social, political and union organizations in Europe launched a campaign to promote free and inclusive access to coronavirus vaccines. The initiative is promoted by the Communist Party of France, together with 1,000 political and union organizations that are promoting the campaign through social media under the label Right to Cure and No Profits at the Expense of the Pandemic. The heads of the initiative point out that access to the vaccine is paramount to defeat the COVID-19 pandemic. Furthermore, they said that in the midst of the health crisis, it is unacceptable that human beings lack protection for financial reasons. The Welsh First Minister announced Monday new restrictions to curb the spread of the coronavirus, which was accelerating across Wales and eroding the gains achieved during the fire break period.
People infected with the virus. The advice we have from our scientific and medical experts is that by the 12th of January, the total number of people with coronavirus in hospital in Wales could rise to 2,200. So that is why from 6 p.m. on Friday, new national measures will be introduced to provide restrictions for hospitality and indoor entertainment attractions. Pubs, bars, restaurants and cafes will have to close by 6 p.m. and will not be allowed to serve alcohol. After 6 o'clock, they will be able to provide takeaway services only. From that same date, indoor entertainment venues, including cinemas, bingo halls, bowling alleys, soft play centres, casinos, skating rinks and amusement arcades will have to close. Indoor attractions such as museums, galleries and heritage sites will also have to close, but outdoor visitor attractions will be able to remain open.
The European Union is shoring up trust in the Schengen Agreement as European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said Monday that internal border checks must be a last resort.
Why we organized today's Schengen Forum is to hold a discussion on a way forward. I would like a pragmatic and operational debate that we can use to inform the Schengen strategy that we will put forward in May next year. But let me also be clear about an important issue. As we develop Schengen, we cannot compromise on the fundamentals. Any internal border checks must be a last resort, and we need to work in very close coordination. Europeans have grown to rely on Schengen. Today, it is essential for our economy and for our way of life. And we all have a responsibility to make it work. Thank you very much.
On Monday, Germany's Health Minister Jens Spahn said the Corona Cabinet for the senior ministers approved a plan to build up a national health reserve of equipment to prevent a repeat of the scramble for supplies seen at the beginning of the pandemic.
Ladies and gentlemen, our healthcare system is one of the best in the world. Nevertheless, this pandemic has taught us that we must be even better prepared for cases like this, for the health crisis, for the pandemic. The German healthcare system is supposed to become and be even more resilient in such a crisis, which is why the Corona Cabinet decided today to establish a national health reserve. It consists essentially of protective equipment and masks, respirators and medicines. To build up the reserve, the federal government will store material at 19 locations until the end of 2021. This reserve is to be filled primarily from products already procured. After that, it will be further filled from a domestic production as a reserve. We are planning half a year of the current demand, especially for the healthcare sector. Physically, the protective materials, equipment and medicines should be kept in stock for 1 month.
A Chinese court jailed 53 people on Monday after convicting them on charges including bribery and negligence over a massive chemical factory explosion in eastern China last year that killed 78 people. The blast in Jiangsu province in March 2019 was one of the worst industrial accidents in the country in recent years, as led to the closure of the plant. Executives and employees of Jiangsu Tianyang Chemical Company received sentences ranging from 18 months to 20 years in prison. A handful of local officials also received jail terms. The court in Jiangsu, Jiangxi City found that the company knowingly produced and stored hazardous chemicals and waste material despite that the storage venues did not meet complete safety requirements. New Zealand's workplace watchdog presented charges on Monday over the White Island volcanic eruption last year when 22 people died and dozens more suffered horrific burns. The regulator WorkSafe examined why 47 people, mainly Australian tourists, were on the island on December 2019 when a column of burning ash and steam blasted from a volcanic vent. The threat alert level was raised in the weeks leading up to the eruption, and WorkSafe chief executive Phil Parks said 10 organizations and 3 individuals were charged on Monday morning with failing their safety duties, and the case was expected to go to court on December 15.
I'm very aware that not only are we coming up to the anniversary of this horrific tragedy, we also are coming up against the deadline for which charges needed to be, if they were going to be laid, would need to be laid. I know all New Zealanders' thoughts are with the families and those who experienced loss or injury, and there is no easy process from here, but it is the job of WorkSafe to make sure that if there are questions to be answered, that they play a role in leading the charge on that.
And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also, if you feel so inclined, join us in social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Telegram. For Telesur English, I'm Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo corro.
To keep myself healthy, I study.
Για να διατηρηθώ υγιής, τρέφομαι σωστά.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo bailo.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo purifico mi espíritu a través del cuerpo. ¿Y tú?
Guide your body. Tuesdays, only on teleSUR. Who's moving the chess man? What interests and motivate the actors behind each event? What's at stake? Critical Move investigates every event from Monday to Friday. Only on teleSUR.
Follow the most important global events through a comprehensive perspective. With a team of journalists in 25 locations around the world to convey our people's reality. From the South